I need to make sure that I start this with a disclaimer. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about a subject that is sensitive and a subject that is popular. When you go to a bookshop and you're trying to go for self-help books, there's a section where there's a how-to, and most of those books there are talking about how you can be able to make $1 million and so on. Now, I'm not an expert in this subject, neither am I a millionaire yet. And yet the subject that I want to address is, what's your plan for $1 million? I am not a guru there, and it might sound like I'm being condescending when I'm sharing with this. So I just wanted you to know that I am a journey person in the same thing. I am also journeying towards the same thing, and I know that there are some things that we can be able to learn. There's theory and then there's practical, and today it is absolute theory when it comes to being a millionaire. What is your plan for $1 million? This is my theory. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
I don't think there is anybody who is not interested in becoming a millionaire. But you see, on this podcast, over and over again, I've been up against that notion where someone just comes and says, why not be a millionaire, and so on, and they start teaching you 7 steps of becoming a millionaire and so on. My argument has always been that there's got to be a reason behind you trying, wanting, desiring to be, wishing to be a millionaire. For what purpose? The question is simply this: once you've become a millionaire, then what? I mean, what follows after that? Do you die? Do you transition into the next world? Have you arrived? What happens? What are you going to do with the millions? The world, of course, is awash with very many people who have had the million come to them, and they did not know what to do with the million. See, the problem is not necessarily the million coming to you. The problem is normally, what do you do once the millions start rolling in? And I think that is the premise of this podcast today. There is absolutely no problem with you becoming a millionaire in pounds or in dollars. At least let's not talk about Zim dollars or Kenya shillings or Uganda shillings. Every single day I can get $1 million in Uganda and become a millionaire in Uganda shillings. But I'm talking about millionaire in pounds, millionaire in euros, millionaire in US dollars. What do you do after you've become one? Stories are awash of very many people who have become those, and they have failed. In fact, they have resorted back to their default settings minutes, not let me say minutes, but a month or just less than a few years, they have gone back to the original default settings, which means that they do not have those millions anymore. So the challenge is not necessarily where are the millions, how can I get the millions, 1 step of getting to becoming a millionaire, 7 steps of becoming a millionaire, 5 steps of becoming a millionaire, and so on and so forth. I don't buy that message a lot, because that message is lacking in one thing, which is purpose. What do you want to do with those millions? Stories of those guys who won a lottery. It's a guy who won a lottery in Britain, and this man did not have a house of his own. He was living in his landlord's house. The first thing he did with these millions is that he went and he bought a helicopter. One wonders for what? Guess where he was parking that helicopter? In his landlord's, or on his landlord's helipad. I mean, it makes no sense at all. There are stories of people who have won lotteries, and just a few months down the line, they have gone back to the same old average bankrupt people that they were. Why? Because there's something that has been lacking in between the process of becoming a millionaire. See, every person, and I can tell you this, there is nobody on the face of the earth who doesn't want that $1 million. If you stood at the streets, and the stories abound, by the way, of people who have been offered money to strip. You're a celebrity of some nature and so on, and people want to see your curves, and they offer you some kind of cash so that you can be able to strip and get your photos shot and so on. And some people have fallen for that. My point is that very many people do want to become millionaires. I do want to become a millionaire, but what do I do with the millions? That is the question. In fact, that's the essence. That is why I am discussing this subject today. Mike Tyson, at a very young age, 19 years of age, becomes a world heavyweight champion, a boxing champion. And what does he do? He becomes a millionaire, so quote unquote, overnight, coming from a background where he was struggling to eke out a living. He was fighting, gangs and so on and so forth, and there was luck, and now all of a sudden there's massive prosperity. I'm told that Mike Tyson used to have very nice suits of different colors, and for each suit, Mike Tyson bought a corresponding Rolls Royce from England. I mean, it doesn't make sense. You can only wear one suit at a go. You can only drive one Rolls Royce at a go. But that's exactly what the man did. And years down the line, the man became a bankrupt guy. I mean, he filed for bankruptcy. See, the point is not necessarily how you can get the million. The point is, what do you do once you get the million? So let's say someone is so benevolent that they will write you a check of $1 million. What will you do? You'll be happy. Will you say no? Would I say no? Are you kidding me? I will not say no. I will say yes. Of course, I will be happy. But here is the catch, and there is always going to be a catch on this one. All that this philanthropist, all that this nice person wants, the one that is going to write for you the check, is to see a breakdown of how well you're going to use that bounty to generate more income for a period of time. He wants to know how long is it going to take for you to be able to generate some kind of income. And this is the catch. He doesn't want you to go away and spend, let's say, 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. He doesn't want you to go away to spend even 1 week or even 1 day so that you can come back with this plan. This is the catch. He wants you to produce the plan right here, right now. And all that you got to do to get the $1 million is just that. You should have a plan for spending the $1 million. Question: would you go home with a check? Would you go home with a check? Would you qualify? That is the most interesting question. I mean, do you know what I'm doing here? What I'm doing here is trying to put us into some kind of state where we're asking ourselves this question: are we prepared for the desires? It might not be necessarily $1 million. It might be $50,000. It might be $1,000. It might be marriage. It might be a car. It might be anything that is an object of your desire. If it's a car, for example, and someone comes and says, show me your driver's permit, I'm going to give you a car. Are you going to get it? Are you getting my point? My question is, how well are we prepared for the desires of our hearts? Think about that. I mean, let's really think about that. Do we seriously think about this stuff? I'm not just talking about $1 million here, but let's say you level it down. Your level is different from my level. You see, my desires are different from your desires. Let's say that your dream of a windfall, let's say, is $10,000. Will you still qualify? Okay, let's take it down back to $5,000. Will you still qualify? The same parameters, as in, show me how you're gonna put that $5,000 into use. I want the plan to be well broken down into detail. I want the projects you're going to invest in. I want the resources that you're going to use to be seen. I want the time frames there. I want the people. I want the projected revenues. I want the works. I want the whole 9 yards about every single dollar being expended here. Are you going to get that money? See, here is the thing. I'm ready to bet that cash has been eluding people because they have not been minding about the cash. That car has been eluding people because they have not been minding about the car. I see people in churches saying, I'm claiming that car in Jesus' name. Meanwhile, they haven't gone for driving school. They are not prepared. They are not minding about, they are not taking even their own step of faith towards the object of their desire. Some people want to get married, but they have not done their own homework, have not prepared themselves so that someone can be able to see them and they can be able to be married. We are not getting the objects of our desires because we are not prepared. We are not minding it. We are only doing some kind of mental gymnastics, some kind of wishful thinking, and we are operating on hope. Hope alone is not a complete strategy. For the most part, people think about the money that they do want to have. Okay, they think about the kind of lifestyle that they do want to live, and they think about, what to expect in terms of income. People seldom plan, P-L-A-N. People seldom plan for their dream cash, as in into the dregs of details. Let's say the dream cash is that $1 million I've been talking about. See, what do you do? Do you have a plan for it? As in, is it written down? Is it already? Have you thought through this? What do you want $1 million for? What do you want $1,000 for? Apart from paying your bills, what else do you want? And that's why sometimes we end up, including myself, we end up with money that is only going to pay our bills. Because that's, for the most part, that is what we've budgeted. We are good at budgeting. We know that we need rent, we know that we need food stuff, we know that we need to pay school fees, we know that we need to put fuel in the car, and so we end up with resources that are only targeting that which we have budgeted for, that which we have planned for, but the extra income ain't coming. Why? Because we're not minding about the cash. How much of that $1 million is allocated for projects? Do you have any ideas that have been churning in your head? And I've talked about ideas on this channel over and over again. Do you have any ideas that have been churning in your mind, and you've written those ideas down, and this idea is for this niche market and it can help people, to give people this kind of a solution? It only needs this kind of a program to be done, and this way I need this kind of a person, I need this kind of equipment, it's going to cost this much. Do you have that conceptualized? See, if you've already conceptualized that project, do you have it somewhere written down? How much of that $1 million are you going to allocate to other people's projects? See, assuming that you have this heart of helping people, injecting life into other people's ideas, how much of that $1 million will you allocate to investments? And what kind of investments are you going to do? Are you going to sink the money in some get-rich-quick scheme? Are you going to put the money in some kind of bonds, some kind of treasury bills, some kind of stocks and so on? How are you going to invest that? Do you have that plan? How much have you allocated of that money to the next generation in terms of what do you want to leave your children and their children for? How are you going to put that money aside? How much have you allocated for your lifestyle? Things like traveling, moving from one place to another, vacations, scheduling your joys. How much have you allocated for research? See, we always are going to be progressive, and we always want to know how much we can be able to use, or how can we be able to grow and develop and become better people. How much of that $1 million have you allocated for your own dreams? See, you all have dreams. We all do have those dreams. Maybe you have a dream house, a dream boat, a dream car, and so on. But how much of that money of $1 million are you going to put in those things? How much is allocated to spread the gospel? If you are a Christian, good news, it needs cash to be spread. How much do you want to sink into that noble cause? How much have you allocated for nurturing talents and gifts for your own children or children of other people? See, how much is allocated for building a home? You see, there has got to be some kind of nitty-gritty planning that has been put into place, and your mind has focused itself onto this so that you can be able to know that if I get $1 million, this is exactly what I'm going to use for. I am ready to bet. Okay, maybe this is stretching it too far, but I'm ready to bet that one of the reasons as to why we don't get that $1 million, one of the reasons as to why we don't get the $50,000 that we're looking for, one of the reasons we're not getting the car or the house or anything that is the object of our desire is because we have not thought it through. We have not put it to the dregs of details. We have not necessarily put pen on paper on any object of our desires, and that's why it is always out of reach. It is always out there. It is always a wishful thinking. It is always relegated to hope and to prayer. And even the prayer itself is so general. God bless me with money. God, and this is one of the most popular things you hear people talking about. God, give me a financial breakthrough. I want a financial breakthrough. Meanwhile, that breakthrough is just to cater for our own survival. We are not even looking for a breakthrough that can be able to cater for our ideas, our projects, our dreams, our vacation, our helping the society, our injecting life into people's brands and injecting life into people's ideas, into people's gifts, into people's talents. We just want a breakthrough. Your dreams, your desires, your wishes for the $1 million. Are they documented? You see, these are the multi-million-dollar questions that we need to be asking ourselves at all times. Honestly, very many people do not have a dream financial figure. It's true. Ask someone, what is your dream financial figure? They cannot tell you off the bat. They will have to think about it. And some of them will just dream some huge sum that is not necessarily even broken down into the details that they want. And I know you're going to tell me, oh, I want abundance. See, I want $10 trillion. Of course you want $10 trillion, but let me ask you, for what purpose? If I knew the purpose for which, and I had the $10 trillion, I knew the purpose for which you wanted the $1 trillion, don't you think I can be able to give it to you? I know that one is just a bit of a stretch. It's the same thing when your child comes to you and asks you, Daddy, please give me $1,000. What are you going to ask them? The very first question you're going to ask them is this: what for? What do you want $1,000 for? If they cannot break it down for you, guess what? You're not going to give it to them. You, as a parent, you're not going to give it to them. Even your girlfriend, even your wife. I'm kidding you not. We need these things to be documented. And I think the route through which we can be able to gain the objects of our desires is the route of actually minding the business of the desire, putting it down, breaking it down into manageable pieces. Chances are that people are afraid to dream. Chances are that people have no dream to begin with in the first place. They have not made their dreams, or they have not made their dreams to be as clear as possible. There is lack of clarity. We have this vagueness. We have vague dreams. I want to be a blessing to my family. Vague dream. I want to be a blessing to this world. Vague dream. I want to be prosperous. Vague. Totally vague. I want to have a house. That's a very vague dream, and it's a very simple dream. Everyone wants a house because we all stay in houses. We don't stay in tents. You never heard people saying, I want a tent. We all say, we want a house. I want a car. It's a vague dream. We do not have these things because we are not clear about them. Your financial dream might not be in the billions of dollars. In fact, your financial dream is directly proportional to the purpose that you want to accomplish in your life. So, question is, do you know what that purpose is? Do you have some goals around it? Do you have a mission? Do you have a vision around it? You see, many people have all this backwards. They think that once I get the money, then I might have to have the purpose. People think about money mostly not on an accurate figure, yet do not know what in the world they want to do, even with a fraction of that money. Isn't it any wonder that we don't have the money? Isn't it any wonder that we don't have the house? Isn't it any wonder that we don't have the wife, or we don't have the objects of our desires? Our challenge, even as I come to a close of this podcast, our challenge today is to craft to the very dregs of details, and I'm speaking to myself also, to the very dregs of details, what we will do with our dream bounty cash, what we will do with our dream house, what we will do with the dream object desire that comes to us. What is the purpose behind it? It is not just to want it. So once you've gotten it, what next? Do you die after that because you've already achieved what it is that you are so hell-bent on achieving? Once you've gotten it, what next? Does life stop for you? You need to keep on living, but living like how? Why? For what purpose? If we can do this and look at it very carefully, chances are that well below 5 years, that dream will be a reality. I don't know what dream that is. It could be you want to be an independent employer. It could be you want to be an entrepreneur who has a project that is churning out X amount of money at the end of every year. It could be that you want to bring up these beautiful kids in a loving family environment. It could be that you want to be an influencer in the spiritual arena, in the education arena, in the business arena, in the political arena. It could be whatever it is that it could be. But if you have it carefully designed to the very dregs of details, carefully made so clear, there is absolute clarity about it, I'm telling you, I have a reason to believe that in less than 5 years, whatever it is going to be a reality. If not, you're going to be extremely close to it, and you're going to be very far from where you started from. So my question to you today is this: how clear are you about what it is that you desire? How clear are you about your dreams? How clear are you about your purpose? How clear are you about the objects of your desire? I hope this makes a lot of sense to us. And I started by saying that I'm not necessarily a millionaire, and so whatever it is I'm presenting to you today is absolute theory. But I know that this theory is laden also with spirit, and there's some truth in it. We don't have because we don't ask. We don't ask because we do not know what we want. We don't have clarity about it. We don't know why we want. So let's reverse the whole thing altogether. Let us start by getting clear about why we want what we want. If it's $1 million, why do you want it? There's no problem. It's not a sin to want to be prosperous. But why? Why? Answer that question, and I think you're well on the course of obtaining the object of your desires. Thank you so very much for listening. I hope this helps you. Until next time, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.